Good morning, and unhande klashi tatsana dalhai evening, and or night, wherever you are. Welcome to WHAM today. Take a deep breath, clear your mind, and let's drift through the whispers of today's world, one quiet thought at a time, as we wrap up Monday, 14th April 2025. Let's see what stories are unfolding around us. China is currently navigating a complex economic situation marked by trade disputes with the United States, prompting reactive strategies. In March, exports experienced a notable 12.4% increase, reflecting efforts by businesses to preempt anticipated tariff hikes imposed by the US. However, Beijing has responded to these tariffs by suspending exports of rare earth minerals and magnets, which are essential in sectors such as car manufacturing and aerospace. The Commerce Ministry has called on the U.S. to eliminate all reciprocal tariffs, deeming temporary exemptions inadequate. As the trade conflict intensifies, Chinese chip suppliers have reportedly ceased providing price quotations, citing the prevailing market instability. Despite these challenges, economists anticipate a controlled, gradual weakening of the yuan, rather than an aggressive devaluation, as a measure to mitigate the effects of U.S. tariffs. The largest iPhone production facility in China has resumed hiring following tariff exemptions on electronics, highlighting the disruptions to Apple's supply chain. Local government bodies are introducing supportive measures aimed at strengthening consumer confidence amidst the trade war. Amidst these tensions and the declining value of the yuan, Chinese investors are increasingly turning to gold investments, contributing to a rise in its price. President Xi Jinping is engaged in a diplomatic tour throughout Southeast Asia, with visits scheduled in Vietnam, Malaysia, and Cambodia to tackle trade-related matters, emphasizing that protectionism will lead nowhere and that trade wars produce no winners. Furthermore, China's exports are displaying resilience and an ability to rapidly reorient shipments, despite the uncertainty surrounding tariffs. India's market shows strength in capital goods and utilities despite global trade challenges, according to Union AMC. The pharmaceutical sector in India saw a significant 9.3% year-on-year growth in March 2025, with companies like Cipla, Sun Pharma, Ipitsia Labs, and JB Pharma at the forefront. Mahindra and Mahindra reported record SUV sales in FY 2015-87 units and maintaining its lead in the Indian SUV market while expanding its electric vehicle offerings. In other economic news from India, luxury car sales hit record levels in FY 25, with Mercedes-Benz India achieving its best fiscal year ever, selling 18,928 units. The global economic stage is currently dominated by concerns over potential trade wars, with investor confidence in the US dollar shaken by President Donald Trump's tariff policies. The UK finds itself increasingly caught in the crossfire of the escalating trade tensions between the US and China. Goldman Sachs analysts have warned that a severe decoupling of the US and Chinese economies could lead to a massive $50 trillion, affecting global equity and bond markets. A temporary reprieve came with Trump's announcement of a 90-day pause on new tariffs, which sent positive signals through international markets, reflected in the significant gains seen in India's Nifty and Sensex indices. Turning to Australia, the stock market has enjoyed a surge, reaching a 7-session high. This positive trend is largely attributed to the strong performance of companies within the mining and banking sectors. Singapore confronts economic challenges, prompting the Monetary Authority of Singapore, MAS, to ease its policy in January, a first since 2020. The country now forecasts possible zero growth this year, revising its GDP outlook downwards amid tariff anxieties. Furthermore, US Treasury officials have warned Singapore's financial and maritime industries to prepare for heightened oversight concerning Iran's oil sector and Chinese acquisitions of Iranian crude. India's market is under the lens of Rupak Desenia, technical analyst at LKP Securities, who has outlined specific trading strategies. These strategies focus on Bharti Hexacom, Sun Pharmaceutical Industries, and Asian Paints, and are based on detailed technical analysis of the F&O market. Shifting focus to Japan, it emerges, along with India, as a potentially more stable and secure destination for real estate investment. This assessment is made in the context of a possible future administration in the United States and its potential impacts on global investment flows, with China seen as a less stable alternative. The arrest of jeweler Mehul Choksi in Belgium has brought renewed attention to India and the YOG 14,000 crore Punjab National Bank (PNB) scam that occurred in 2018. The scam involved fraudulent loans. Recovery efforts continue to progress. Despite these efforts, PNB's stock value remains depressed compared to its pre-fraud levels. Nevertheless, several analysts have voiced optimism about the bank's prospects for future growth and recovery. Russia's energy sector faces headwinds from the ongoing trade war and tariff pressures, raising concerns about potential oil price drop. Despite these external pressures, the country's energy plan anticipates a steady level of crude oil production extending to 2050. United States venture capitalist and former CI officer Eric Schlesinger is investing in European defense startups, leveraging increased European military spending amidst uncertainty about the U.S. President Trump is weighing levies on semiconductors after lifting reciprocal tariffs on electronics. He also plans a 20% tariff on fentanyl from China. Analysts believe Trump's potential nuclear talks with Iran could succeed where Biden's failed, owing to Iran's weakened economy potentially making them more amenable to negotiation. News from Japan is positive, with stock futures rising after the temporary suspension of U.S. electronic tariffs. Indonesia seeks to gain U.S. trade, favor through finance and investment agreements. Turning to Germany, the nation's cartel office approved UniCredit's plan to acquire a significant stake in Commerzbank, despite the German government's resistance, which views it as a hostile takeover by the Italian lender. In Brazil, President Jair Bolsonaro has undergone another abdominal surgery. The country is also contemplating taxing tax-free dividends paid to billionaires. Gold Fields in Ghana has been ordered to cease operations at its Damang mine. Shifting to Italy, billionaire Economo is vying to replace Trafigura as a partner in the nation's top oil refinery. Across the Arabian Peninsula, both the Dubai real estate boom and Saudi projects are encountering similar challenges. WHAM intends to allocate $2 billion from a Saudi sale to reduce its debt. Somalia is preparing to register voters for upcoming local elections. Pakistan's remittances have surged to record levels, propelled by economic recovery. In a joint venture, Egypt and Qatar are collaborating on a $7.50 billion investment package. Finally, European equities saw a substantial rise, fueled by Trump's tariff exemptions, with Novo Nordisk shares climbing by 4%. And that's a wrap for today's news, because even headlines need a nap. Stay curious, stay kind, and let the noise fade as you find your quiet. Take care, stay awesome, and I'll see you next time on WHAM Today.